Dadian, political analyst, is here this morning. It was a good week for Republicans, was it not?
Great week for Republicans. We're really looking for that we still don't know the answer to is how much of a bump from the convention, and is it going to continue? Now, of course, the Democrats are going to try to blunt that bump.
John, we had talked about this prior to the Republican National Convention. The target audience, let's remind our viewers, who was the target audience in this convention, and did they get reached?
People like to put it in demographics, but the real target audience was the undecided and swing voters in the undecided and swing states, which are approximately 9 to 11 states. It's interesting that you asked that question because the Republicans, clearly that's who they targeted, but the Democrats are going to do a little different. The Republicans did things such as go on Twitter and go on the internet, but the Democrats are going to do it interactively, where you can go and talk to delegates on the floor and all that. So clearly both sides are trying to get those type of folks in. The Democratic convention, it's not going to be the people in the audience, it's going to be the ones in those 9 to 11 states that they're going to be talking to the next 4 days.
Is the ace in the hole for the Democrats Bill Clinton, or is it someone that we don't know about?
Surprise, you could say.
Well, I don't think you're going to have a surprise a la Clint Eastwood again.
Yeah.
But Bill Clinton, on this particular campaign, clearly has been their best fundraiser, clearly has been their best speaker, clearly has been their best surrogate. The problem is, and I will compare him to Clint Eastwood, is when you get that big in stature, whether it's in entertainment or politics, you're Bill Clinton, you're Clint Eastwood, you're going to do whatever you want. And so the Democrats have a fear of that he might go a little rogue, to use that term. Now, Clint Eastwood, I got to tell you, the Romneys were cringing in the back as he went over his time limit by almost double during the Republican convention, and he bounced around.
They didn't actually even look at his speech, from what I understand. They just let him go up and go at it. I guess when you're Dirty Harry, you can do that.
That's exactly right. And Jeff, that's a great segue comparison I was making, because Bill Clinton has done the same thing in the past. I don't know about what agreement they have for this convention, but in the past, they've actually asked the former president, please put your speech in the teleprompter at a time, and he's refused to do it.
Refuses. So I guess
he's a former president. He's Bill Clinton.
But you know, there's something to be said for looking at everything before it goes on the air. Right?
Well, again, as a political aid, that's exactly what you want to do, because how many gaffes can we retell, you know, that have been at not only these conventions but in politics?
Are conventions becoming? I mean, I know they're still very relevant, but are they as important as they used to be, John?
I would disagree with your first premise. I don't think they're that relevant because they're not important as they used to be. Clearly, what it's turned into, the technical term is a nominating convention. Clearly, it's turned into a coronation. I mean, when you know what's going to happen beforehand, when there's no surprises. Now, technically, under the rules, could it still have been a brokered convention? Technically, yes, but that just hasn't happened in decades.
So what does President Obama say this week to the voters that are in those swing states? I mean, who is his target audience? Who does he have to really get on his side as of this week?
You always need to really get the swing voters, but the truth is, and this is why it shows an incumbent's in trouble, he still has to secure his base. There are a lot of people that were Obama supporters, that should be Obama supporters, that are having reservations, and they're different than the swing voters. So he needs to tell them that what I'm doing will work, it just takes time. And that's where you see Bill Clinton coming in to kind of cement that theme, because Bill Clinton has a little bit more of an aura of somebody who's been there and done that.
And what do you think former President Bill Clinton is going to talk about? Economics, obviously? I mean, is that where he's really going to say, listen, this was my plan, he felt that it worked for the country, and this is what he thinks President Obama should continue? I mean, what is he going to say?
That's exactly right. Bill Clinton is speaking on the same night as a Democratic candidate, Elizabeth Warren, who's running against in Massachusetts. So those are the two high profiles. So what you're going to see on that one night is those are going to be the two attack dogs. They're going to be the ones very proactive, very aggressive, saying, you know, not only is Obama policies good, but here's what's wrong with the Republicans. So that's very aggressive. And then you get the last night, you get the president and the vice president kind of trying to sound presidential and authoritarian. Those are going to be the two different speaking nights.
And you get the actress, too. Isn't she?
Eva Longoria?
Eva Longoria is going to speak. Yeah. Right before the president, I think, correct? I'm
not sure her exact period where she's speaking, but again, what I like about her, she's very liberal, but what I do like about her is she's a countrywide co-chair of the Obama campaign, and she's really gotten out there. She's not one that says, saying I'm a celebrity with the aura. She's actually working for this guy.
And she looks okay on camera.
You know, I happen to notice that.
She's all right.
Okay. All right, John, anything else to add?
Well, again, one of the main Democratic political strategy, not their theme, but the strategy is to blunt the Republican bump.
Yeah.
I was surprised at the orange story that with Romney, because what you saw in both nominees this week is they're trying to be presidential. Obama goes to the troops and Romney goes to the hurricane areas. So they're trying to show leadership. So to me, that silly story kind of blunts the Romney strategy of looking presidential.
Well, maybe he's just trying to show that he's human and likes a good laugh.
A lot of pressure on the campaigns and anything you can do to relieve it, believe me.
You've been talking about that on Facebook, how much you're laughing, right?
It's,
and you got to laugh at some of this stuff. Man, oh man. Right?
I'm amazed on Facebook, as you read, how many people are taking this too seriously.
It's exhausting. Honestly, you have to turn it off at some point. You have to just sort of, you know what, okay, I need a break.
I'm interested to see what Facebook's role will be in this election because, quite frankly, some of the attacks from both sides, nasty.
On this show, I've quoted a lot of the great philosophers, political philosophers in our time. I'm going to quote a great philosopher, Sergeant Hulka of the movie Stripes, and that is,
I love Sergeant Hulka.
Lighten up, Francis. I think everybody needs to do that.
Everybody needs a big toe like Sergeant Hulka, you know?
You betcha.
Thank you.
John, thank you. Have a good Sunday.
Good to see you both.
And happy Labor Day weekend to you.
Thank you.
All right.
White pants, John. White pants.
Jeff reminding every man.